Reports this morning that 400 people have been arrested and 140 charged after early morning raids in the UK. The police were bracing for 100 planned anti-immigrant protests last night. They deployed thousands of police officers right across the country. More than a dozen towns and cities have been rocked by violence over the last week after a knife attack at a kids' dance studio that killed 3 and injured 10 people. Misinformation in the aftermath named a migrant as the attacker, which spread quickly across social media and stoked anti-migrant feelings. For a closer look this morning, we are joined by the Washington Post's Adila Suleiman, who is in London. Welcome.
Thank you.
So the country was bracing for these 100 planned protests last night. Things did not go as they had planned. It's good that they planned. It didn't manifest in the way that they thought. What ended up happening?
Yeah, I think yesterday really took everybody by surprise. So as you mentioned, massive protests were planned by the far right in at least, I think, 30 different areas. And they were actually met with far bigger counter-protests. So the images you can see there are from central London, where people came out to counter the protests. Same was in Brighton, which is a seaside town here. And I think that's really the story that's overtaken the story of the far-right protesters, has been the counter-protesters. And people coming together in solidarity in communities, helping businesses, helping each other to send that message that really love trumps hate. So that's the headlines today across the country.
It's certainly what police officials are crediting with the lack of violence that they witnessed yesterday. But this is not the first time we've seen race-related riots in the UK, and we can go back to the 70s or even more recently than that. How is what's happening this time around different, or is it?
Yeah, I mean, undoubtedly, race, immigration are all real hot-button political issues here in the UK. We've just had a general election. We have a new prime minister, and that's been part of his campaign, is appearing to be tough on illegal immigration, the so-called boats that come over from across the Channel. So this is something that's really been in people's minds. We had Nigel Farage, who is the leader of the Reform Party, winning a seat in Parliament for the first time ever. So these are issues which are forefront in the UK. This time was slightly different because the stabbing which took place in Southport, which killed 3 young girls who had been attending a Taylor Swift dance class in the summer holidays, is really what sparked this, the misinformation around that. So it's quite unusual how these riots came about. But even though the police released the name of the suspect and confirmed that he wasn't an illegal immigrant, he was in fact born in Cardiff in Wales, this has done nothing to dissipate the misinformation which has already taken hold online.
Yeah, it has definitely inflamed the spark that was there. Who are the groups and the people who are involved in these anti-immigrant demonstrations?
Yeah, it's fairly leaderless at the moment. There isn't one key figure that's leading this all, and it tends to be popping up on WhatsApp groups, in neighborhoods, conversations in pubs. People are organizing in a very ad hoc way, but they are sometimes releasing their plans online, which is why the counter-protesters are able to come out to the right places to meet them. Also, as you mentioned, there's been a lot of misinformation online, which has been stoked by some prominent voices, including the influencer Andrew Tate. Some would say Nigel Farage has also been speaking about these, and obviously we have the CEO of X, formerly Twitter, Elon Musk, who's predicting civil war in the UK, which was quickly, rebutted by Prime Minister Keir Starmer. So this has got a lot of prominent voices, but not one single leader.
This sort of thing, though, doesn't bloom without there being some sort of conditions in order to make it right for it to happen. So what is happening in the UK right now, either politically or socially, that is causing this flare-up?
I mean, I think it's a number of factors. I think there has been a political shift. As I said, immigration is something that's on people's minds. It's obviously something that people feel very strongly about. We have unemployment. We have areas of deprivation, particularly in the north of England. So people are kind of seeing disparities between socioeconomic backgrounds. Others are saying that immigrants are merely a scapegoat and an easy kind of target for far-right groups rather than, other issues perhaps with the government. So it's really a mixture of factors. It's also summer here. It's been very hot, and people are speculating that if it was raining and grey, perhaps fewer people would come out to protest. But there's a real feeling of restlessness in some cities.
Adila Suleiman from the Washington Post in London for us this morning. Thank you so much.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you liked this, be sure to subscribe here, or you can check out more Your Morning videos right here.